Okay, so part two, let's get right into our clip for this one.
In Japan, it's so common to see people standing outside handing out flyers, little packs of tissue, and this is a very effective way for companies here to advertise their services to people. But there are some seedy bars and restaurants that use the same tactic to get unsuspecting people into their establishment. Once in there, they'll use different tricks to try to get as much money out of you as possible. Some restaurants may bring out some food to you without you even ordering, and then when you go to leave, they'll demand that you pay for the food that they brought out to you, and it's usually really expensive. Sketchy bars will serve you overpriced drinks, and in some extreme cases, they may even drug the drinks, and they'll rob you when you're passed out.
Okay, so from this clip, you can see that they're saying that there's certain places in Japan, a little bit on the shady side sometimes, that they'll sort of just charge you for food or drinks that you didn't necessarily order or want. And actually, thinking about it, I did experience this stuff, and it wasn't even necessarily shady places. The kind of, I guess, thing that you would expect in Japan is like you might go into like a little bar, into a little restaurant, and then they might give you like a starter. So, like here in the US, we might get like chips and salsa or something like that. But over there, they might give you a starter and they might actually charge you for that. So here in the US, it's not really charged, but it's sort of factored into the prices. Over there, they might actually just explicitly charge you for like something that's like an appetizer sort of thing that you didn't really necessarily order. Um, what I did run into quite a bit is that there might be like an entrance fee or like a sitting down fee or like something like that, or like a service fee that they won't necessarily tell you about, but it'll sort of just be added to the fee at the end, and that might not even you might not even get any food or drink out of that. It's just for like being in a place. One example was there was a bar that I saw that was just like, oh, $2 drinks, and I was like, obviously $2 drinks is it sounds like there's a trap already. But what ended up happening is that there's like a $10 sitting down fee or like entrance fee or whatever. And then after that, you can buy your drinks for $2. So I'm not really a big drinker, so I really only had one drink. So I ended up paying like $12 for a drink. But if I would have drank more and more, the drinks would have been much cheaper on average. Okay, guys, so I basically came up with like a tier list here when it comes to actually different levels of shadiness. Uh, this kind of thing you see here in America, in Japan, it's kind of the same thing. So at the top tier, I would consider the adult industry, obviously, and then tier below that is casinos or pachinko is what they have over there in Japan. The tier below that is what I could actually consider what we're playing now, a gotcha game, to be a certain tier of shadiness. And then I have gotcha arcades. So that would be like those little machines where you put the quarter in and then you get a toy. Um, in Japan, they have those, and it's more than a quarter over there. It's like $3 to $4. And then they also have the crane games, which are a little bit cheaper, but they're actually like fully 100% rigged. And I think over there, it's more for the thrill of actually feeling like you have a chance of getting a cheaper item. But those are definitely rigged, and that's kind of why I put that pretty high up in the shadiness meter here. Okay, so next I have girls bar or cafe. So girls bars are like kind of interesting. So the cafe would be like a maid cafe or something like that, where they dress up a certain way, and then usually I think you pay to get in, or the drinks are just overpriced. But then there's girls cafe, a girls bar, which is just like regular girls. Basically, they try to just get you to drink, and they try to get you to buy them drinks. But the kind of the catch here is that the drinks, if you're not really paying attention, the drinks can end up costing you around $20 to buy the girl a drink. And that's because like while the beers might just be like $3, buying the girl a drink, she will specifically ask for a drink which is not going to be worth $20. But if you're not paying attention to how much they cost, you're going to get charged like $20 for that. Bars and clubs. So I think clubs are basically like there's an entrance fee and you pay that up front. So like clubs, I don't think are that bad. But bars and like bar restaurant is where you would find those kind of like, oh, they bring out like a $5 food item, or like snacks. There's like snack bars over there. There's like a little bit of an entry fee. It's not necessarily for the snack itself. You have access to the snacks just by coming in, but you get charged that fee. And then, there's other regular services like supermarkets and like laundry and stuff like that, where you don't really have to be on the lookout for things like that. They're just kind of like the normal level of stuff. So this tier list isn't really super important. I just kind of wanted to mention all those kind of like different gotchas, gotcha, GOTCHA, which can potentially exist within those certain industries. And like I kind of said, these kind of things exist in the US, but I feel like it's a little bit more upfront in the US, or maybe it's just that we're kind of more used to it here in the US, at least, us, the audience that I'm kind of speaking with. So I kind of want to talk about the lack of bundles that we kind of started seeing as soon as the Road to the Worldwide thing started. I think I'm pretty sure that was an honest mistake with the Gil shards, paying for the Gil shards. I'm pretty sure that was a fully honest mistake. But in terms of the lack of bundles in the store, I think that's kind of why the niceties happened at the beginning. I think that's kind of the reason why we had the live stream. The live stream. The point of the live stream was to kind of soften us up and sort of just give us a good feeling going into this. But the reality of the not having a bundles, that's kind of what I'm sort of equivocating. Is that a word? I'm sort of making that equivalent to what I kind of mentioned here in my little tier list, where you might get charged for a drink at the bar, or you might get charged for food without really knowing. But it's sort of your responsibility to look at the menu and sort of just see, or to just understand the rules of the establishment and just kind of see. I think I see the parallel there with the lack of bundles, where it's just like, yeah, we don't have bundles. You're gonna have to pay full price for if you want to buy shards, or if you want to pull for the character. You're gonna have to pay full price, and that's kind of just how it is. That's sort of like the menu aspect of it, or not even necessarily the menu, but also the receipt at the end. Because sometimes you get the receipt at the end, and the drinks are included in there, the service fee is included in there, but you may or may not have been aware of it the whole time. And so I kind of have a little bit of an explanation. I'm not trying to justify this, but I feel like this is a sort of a special exception of a time in our timeline here on global, or the worldwide version. I have a feeling this is going to be a temporary thing. By the time we get to our normal schedule and the worldwide version, I feel like we're going to get back to getting at least our Visor Pack H's with our now really super ultra rare Visor Pack F's. So why don't we have actual deals? We have a full-fledged collab with Final Fantasy V, and we're not getting any deals. Okay, you can technically say that with the Warrior of the Crystals, it's not like an all-out collab, so maybe that's part of the reason why we're not getting our deals here. So my thinking on this is that there's a game schedule compression, which we're very aware of. They pointed that out to us, but I don't think they are compressing their operation cost schedule, meaning they're still expecting to make the same amount of money, even though they are giving us more of a compressed schedule. So basically, what I think they're doing is that they don't really want to offer more deals per month, or more deals, or offer deals in back-to-back months. So essentially, even though there's a compression of time, they don't really want, in their month-to-month schedule, they don't really want to have another collab worth of offering deals and making less money in the month, if that makes any kind of sense. It sounds like really evil and everything. It definitely is, but from their end, they just don't want to make less money. Essentially, is what I think is happening. Um, so I think by the time we get back to the worldwide version, which is the good part of what I'm saying, by the time we get to the worldwide version and everything's on a normal schedule, I think we're gonna see normal deals like Visual Pack Fs and the possibly back to the 80 shards in those paid bundles of the unit that you're pulling for. However, with all that being said, I think we should 100%, since we're having to deal with their Japanese way of doing things, I think we should 100% hold them accountable and point out to them what we keep. It's good that we're doing this on Discord and on Reddit. As bad as it feels to see all these threads on Reddit, I think it's good for us to hold them accountable and sort of tell them like what we expect as non-Japanese people. We expect to get something for our money. We don't expect to be paying for things that we're not getting. Um, I think definitely Hiroki or whoever's in charge has definitely been adjusting a little bit, trying to like dial it in a little bit and sort of see how far we're willing to go and then sort of just pull it back a little bit to what we're willing to do. Okay, and then I just wanted to talk about the what's probably the worst offense here in out of the live streams that they had, which was from the Q&A, which I have the clip of for you right here.
So, with the rollout of the worldwide version, will global players not get 3 months worth of login bonuses and other items?
Yes. It's a little bit difficult thing. There will be no change to the amount of login bonus that player will receive. Although there will change to the release schedule. No content will be skipped, and there will be no instance where global player will miss out on any content-based items. We plan to compensate for the difficulty of getting unit by learning the road to the worldwide version campaign. In fact, the first part of the campaign is the Give Back Festival. Of course, now we are planning the second and third campaign, as I mentioned yesterday to live stream. So we plan to try our best to come up with ideas to allow players of all play styles to have as much fun as they can. As we approach the worldwide version at the end of September.
All right. Thank you very much for that. You guys can see the answer.
I hope everyone understanding.
Okay, guys, so he basically danced around the question. He had like a very set response that he was going to say. But yeah, he basically didn't answer the question that was asked. But in a sense, he really did. By not answering it, we kind of know what the answer was. And I think this is a very perfect moment which shows the Japanese culture and where it's sort of impossible for you to be direct and it's sort of impossible for you to communicate what you're actually trying to say. And I think the reason why he seems like pretty flustered in saying this, and I think it's really just Japanese culture makes it impossible for you to really express things the way you want to express them. So I think that's 100% what we're seeing here. Please try it. 100% it's a bad company corporate decision, but please try not to blame Hiroki himself. He is trying his best to break through his Japanese culture conditioning. I believe he said there, I wrote this down, so I believe he said there, I hope for everyone's understanding. So I feel like with that, he's essentially saying that I'm trying to do the best I can, but it's going to be sort of impossible for me to do much more than I can do from there. All right, guys. So with that, let me end part 2. I hope that sort of made sense in the way that I'm sort of trying to relate the Japanese culture of, being at a restaurant or at a bar and, that kind of thing happening there, relating that to what we're seeing here with the Visure deals and whatnot. So hopefully you guys are at least somewhat understanding this. I don't really expect like a full understanding of this. Like I kind of mentioned, it took me months and months of living in Japan to even just start understanding this. And just please also understand that I'm not trying to make an excuse for any of them. I'm just sort of just trying to point out what the cultural differences are here. And I think they're really sticking to the Japanese way of doing things, which is something that is in Japan, Japanese culture is very difficult to change things. So I think that's sort of what's going on. So in any case, guys, I'll see you in the next video.